Hey everyone, this is Seth Rosenblum bringing you 10 blues licks in the style of B.B. King. Now, if you've never played blues before, if you've never even really listened to blues before, this is a great starting point because B.B. King and the blues are one and the same. He is the king of the blues. So I tried to put together some different licks that showcase different sides of his playing and really also give you a good starting point to build some blues vocabulary and start the path of playing blues. So this lick is in the key of C sharp or D flat right here. And it's similar to a lot of other blues phrases where it's a pickup into the one. So it's something we could use to start a song where it's, and on that fourth note of it is where the downbeat comes in. And so this starts out with this 4-note lead line. And then following that, what's happening is I'm just outlining that C sharp major chord. So you'll recognize that right out of this. And it's something that B.B. does a lot, following a lead line to throw in a little arpeggiated chord. So once again. So this lick is also in the key of C sharp or D flat. We're starting up here in position 2 of the pentatonic on the B string, moving through the blues scale on the E string. And this is kind of a little tidbit. A lot of B.B.'s licks are short and you have to learn a bunch of them and then put them together, where this one really makes you want to kind of go even higher with these bends, where we get the, and it makes you want the, where if you know B.B.'s playing, you know it's probably coming sometime next. But I purposefully left these separate because depending on the context, you might want to leave that tension hanging a bit, and this in and of itself is a great lick to learn. Again, we have another phrase here in the key of C sharp, D flat. We're up in that position 2 of the pentatonic again. And B.B. has a ton of these phrases which are somewhat similar, but they're all a little different. And in blues, it's the nuances and the small changes that really make all the difference. So with this, we're starting off with this half step bend this time, instead of last time we had the whole step. And then we have that little descending phrase, similar to what you hear a lot of blues players play, but with blues, it's all about listening to the specific player and hearing how they do things. And if you want to sound more like B.B., it's about copying some of those nuances and getting the fine details of the playing. So once again, we're staying in that same C sharp, D flat key, which not a super common key in blues, but B.B. did use it quite a bit. And this time we're up even another position in position 3 of the pentatonic. And B.B. spent a ton of time up here. The coolest thing about this is we go up and have this little ascending phrase. Play that bend at the 16th fret of the E string. then bend the 16th fret of the B string and use our pinky to play the 16th fret of the E, and then go to the 14th. Something you don't hear a whole lot with bending that fret on one string and then fretting it on the next. But it's really cool here, and this is another that you can use with some of these other BB licks, as well as other blues phrases to kind of improve your blues vocabulary. So now we've moved to the key of C. Our chords for C blues would be C7, F7, and G7. And very, very common, maybe the most iconic B.B. King-ism, is this thing where we play one note way up high, kind of on the octave. So this is a high C, and then play a responding phrase lower. So here is kind of a call and response thing you might do on a fast shuffle. Then we go back up for another high C, and then do a slightly different phrase. And this is something I think I picked right out of a live version of BB playing Every Day of the Blues, which is one of the most up-tempo shuffles that he had in his catalog. Really cool phrase that he played at the end, almost more of a gospel style shout section to it. But if you want to play like BB King, you definitely need this phrase in your arsenal. So this one's in the key of C. And on all of these, something that I want to talk about is with B.B. King really paying attention to the vibrato. One of the most iconic vibratos, on the faster side, but always, always musical. So make sure you're listening to that vibrato, and this is one where you have multiple opportunities to get that vibrato into the phrase. So we're using it on the first finger on that note at the 13th fret of the B string, and then the second finger on the 14th fret of the G string at the end. No matter what player it is, to really capture the essence of their playing, you have to listen to their vibrato and really make sure that you're getting that piece of the equation into the playing. For this lick, we're moving down to the key of B flat. So in this, we're really up in position 3 of the pentatonic, doing a whole step bend at the 13th fret there. Has a really kind of sweet sound as you come down to the unbent 13th fret. And then putting a very common kind of B.B. King style tag on the end of that. You'll notice with B.B. King, he's one of the masters of call and response, where everything fits together really nicely. It never in his playing sounds disjointed. Even though it's made up of a lot of small pieces, it's about knowing how to put those together in the best possible way and make sure that each phrase is leading into the next, that they're not just being played because it's something you know, but that it's really something that fits in the moment. Once again, a lick in the key of B flat like the last. This is one you don't want to overuse. This is a lick that you want to use when you're really going for it at the height of a solo. Starts off with this 1.5 step bend, pretty high up on the neck. And it's one of the real B.B. King-isms when he was going after it, building the solo at the climax of the solo. And it follows up with this tricky little phrase where we're bending with our first finger a half step on the E string. And you just want to make sure you really use good bending technique where you're using the whole arm and not just that finger to try to push it. Otherwise, that will prove to be very difficult. But this is a great one to use, especially on a slow blues or maybe on a up-tempo shuffle when you want to get to that top of the solo, maybe the second or third time through the progression during your solo. So this lick's in the key of B flat, and this is what I'd classify as an ending lick. Not for the end of the song, but for the end of a solo. B.B. always did this well, where it was never an ending where he just stopped playing or kind of took an easy way out. It always really outlined the chords, but also took it back to a level where then it would make sense for the vocals to come back in. So this one is more or less going straight down the pentatonic, but it has this nice jump at the end, where we're going all the way down to, in this case, in the key of B flat, to our F, which outlines the 5 chord, and then it can work back nicely to the 1 for either the start of the next solo, a different soloist, of course, or for the vocals to come back in. So like the last one, this is in the key of B flat, and it's another great ending phrase. Once again, just right inside the pentatonic. This one doesn't even move as much. But these are important to have in your repertoire of licks so that when you get to the end of a solo, you know how to kind of tie everything up nicely. Because a great solo with a horrible ending kind of leaves a bad taste at the end. You want to take it all the way to the end and make sure that you have a few of these you can use to really wrap up those solos nicely.
If you're interested in taking your guitar playing to the next level, check out Pick Up Music. We have hundreds of lessons from the world's top guitar players. It's the best way to get to the next level, especially if you're an intermediate player. There's a 14-day free trial, so you can start free, try it out, and let us know what you think.